Okay, for today's project video, we're going to do another lamp. This time though, I'm going to try and answer one of the questions that I get a lot when I do this kind of lamp. And the question is it not tippy? Which means, is it not very easy to knock over? There are tricks we can do while we're turning to stop that happening. The main thing is the center of gravity in it. While we're turning, we can actually manipulate the center of gravity and drop it, which is what we have to try and do. I'm going to put up graphics now to show why that works and how it works. If you don't want to watch the graphics and just want to watch the turning, then go to this time now. Okay, this is how you stop a lamp being tippy. We have a blank that's 12 inches by 4 inches. It's been turned into the round. That's the center of gravity line on the vertical axis. That's the center of gravity line on the horizontal axis. Your center of gravity is where the two lines meet. In this case, it's 6 inches high and 2 inches in from any of the edges. Right? Its tipping point is when the center of gravity crosses the center of gravity line on the vertical axis. That's how stuff falls over. The most efficient shape on a solid object that's round is a cone. Here's the same blank, but it's been turned into a cone. There's your center of gravity line on the vertical axis. There's the center of gravity line on the horizontal axis. You'll notice it's lower. The center of gravity is 3 inches high and 2 inches in. How we've done this is we've taken weight from above the center line on the blank. So we've taken more weight from above, from 6 inches up than 6 inches down. And in doing that, we've actually lowered the center of gravity. Its tipping point is calculated in the same way, but it's a lot further than on the straight blank. There's the two of them together, and you'll see that the cone is tipped over a lot more than the cylinder. The problems start when we start turning, and we turn shapes like this one, where most of the weight is above the center line. There's the center of gravity on the vertical axis. There's the center line of the blank. Now you can see what there, that most of the weight in that turning is above that line. And what that has done is it's driven the center of gravity line on the horizontal axis up, which is what we don't want, because the center of gravity on this one is now 7 inches high and 2 inches in. The 2 inches in never changes. The tipping point on this one is that. You can see it there. The center of gravity is just past the center of gravity line in the vertical axis. And if we put the three of them together, you'll see down here that the tipping point is less on the last turning than the other two. The most efficient turning is a base lamp. I don't do them because I actually don't like them, but each to his own. But if you actually look at a base lamp, what you see is you have a cone. All you've done is you've taken even more weight off, and you've lowered the center of gravity even more. Right? Here's two lamps. Right? This one has no shade on it. You'll see by it that most of the weight is below the center line. So I've lowered the center of gravity on that. Why is that so important? Because when we finish the lamp, what do? Stick a big thing on top of it that's going to higher the center of gravity again. The shade will actually higher the center of gravity back up. The whole trick when you're turning is to turn in a way that even with the shade on, the center of gravity will not go above the midline of the blank. In a 12-inch blank, you do not want the center of gravity above 6 inches. The lower you can get it, the more stable it is. And that's how you stop a lamp being tippy. Right, we're going to be using a piece of acacia that is 4x4, but as you'll see by the grain pattern, it's in the wrong direction. It's actually in bowl orientation. I do this a lot because I think it makes for nicer looking lamps. What you've got to watch when you're doing this is you have to remember you're basically turning a bowl. So a spindle roughing gouge and a skew can't go near it. You will be doing most of your turning with a bowl gouge. Right? As I said, it's 4x4. I actually don't know how long it is. It is just over 16 inches, which we'll be getting rid of some of that. A rough rule of thumb that I use is the width of the blank, you can go 4 times the height. Preferably less, but you can go up to 4 times the height. On a 4-inch blank, I can go 16 inches. On a 3-inch blank, I can go 12 inches. I wouldn't go below using a 3-inch blank because then it is really unstable. Right? I already have the centres marked and punched. Right, we'll put it on the lathe and we'll get going with this. First thing is to get the blank into round. As normal, start her up, stay back out of the way, turn her up to a speed you feel comfortable with, right, and start taking away. Oh, this is pretty good. Right, because this is very dry acacia, I'll be sharpening often because it really blunts tools. Right. Now, in keeping what you're just seeing on the notes, we know this is 16 inches high, so there's 8 inches. Right. So the center of gravity of this is there, in the middle of that. We want to keep more weight down here and less weight up here. And we've got to start thinking of that as we're shaping. Right? A good shape is a champagne bottle, not a wine bottle. Well, wine bottles work as well, but a champagne bottle, if you look at it, is very wide on the bottom and it goes up like that. It's part of the design so that the bottle won't actually fall over. That's one of the reasons it's that shape. The other is to keep bubbles and everything else. So a champagne bottle shape is actually quite a good shape to go for. Although you can't do every lamp a champagne bottle shape. So this one I'm going to go for what I call a genie bottle, which is really wide here and it tapers into a narrow neck from about here. It looks like a genie bottle. Right, so we're going to do that. The first thing you want to do is square off both ends, just for the design part of it, so you know where your ends are. Now that I know where the ends are, I'll start shaping the lamp. I like to start up here at the top end, so I can get that shape and just blend this end into it. And what's actually quite handy is the kit I use. I know if I get down to just outside the size of my spur drive that it's the right size, because of the cap on the kit actually covers the marks from the spur drive perfectly. Okay, this is quite controversial. I'm wearing a glove. The reason I'm wearing the glove is that the shavings coming off of this, because it's so dry, are quite hot. This is a personal thing. But I would prefer to see somebody wearing a glove and not getting burnt by shavings and not flinching, than flinching away from a hot shaving and losing control of this tool. If you keep your hand behind here, you won't get into trouble. Right, gotta go and sharpen again. This wood is so hard to cut. I'm actually only getting about 7 or 8 cuts before I have to go back to the grinder. It only takes seconds to sharpen a tool. And to quote a toner who's better than me, if you feel like if you think you need to sharpen, then you need to sharpen. Right, you can see the shape starting to form. That would be almost your basic champagne bottle shape. Right, but what I want to do is I want to bring that down to here and start to blend in down here. And back to the grinder again. Now we start getting the rough shape on this end. I want to curve into that. Gentle touch. Right, I want a gentle curve going in there. Not too sharp. Right, I'll probably end up changing here. But at the moment I just want a gentle curve. Right, that's not deep enough, so I need more down from there. curve back. Right. Now we want to start forming the Genie bottle. Right, so we'll give ourselves a base to work to. And we walk around. So we can curve into the base. Right. And now what we want to do is we want to curve this. We got those curves blending in. Something sounds off. Check that's tight. Right. I want to leave a little detail here at the bottom to accentuate it. Right, a little step, if you would. Right. Right, and back to the grinder again. Right, and we continue to shape. Now if I can get another one of those in there, I'll be a lot happier. Yeah, there's a second one. Going smaller, it just adds some detail to the lamp. Okay. Now I'm going to try and shear scrape the rest of this shape in. Get rid of tool marks. Right, let's have a look at that. When you get to certain stages doing a lamp, stop, sit back, have a look at it, See if it's a pleasing shape. There isn't. There's a bump there I have to get rid of, and I'm not too sure about that curve. There down is good. I like there down. Right, the steps going down. I don't like up here. I'll have to think about that. Okay, sorry about that. Slight SD card problem. It was full. All I've done is I accentuated that curve down to make here thinner, to make it curve slightly more. I put a step in there to mirror the two on this end, and I did the finishing cuts on it. Then I sanded it. So you haven't actually missed much. Right, we're now going to sort out the base here so you can run a wire. Okay. Right, for the base you need to leave a rim of about 1 centimetre, a little more maybe, depends on the lamp. Right. Parting tool is very good for doing this. Right, and you want to go in about 1.5 centimetres. Now remember, you're basically doing a bowl. So anything you can use to hollow a bowl, you can use here. I'm going to use a 1/4 inch spindle gouge to take out the rest of this because I can't get the parting tool in there. Now remember, you have to sand in there as well. Okay, now we'll get on to finishing. First thing you need to do is, especially if you're using really dry wood like this, is to clean it. You're going to rub down first to get the main stuff off. Then get some, right over here it's methylated spirits. In America I believe it's denatured alcohol, and wipe the piece down with it. You gotta get all that sawdust off if you want a decent finish. It also gives you a sneak preview as to what the piece is going to look like when it's done. When that's dry, I'm going to use sanding sealer on it. I use a shellac based sanding sealer, basically because it's the only one I can really get. Rub it in, make sure everywhere gets the same coat. Right, after it dries, quick denib with a scotch pad. And then on to Yorkshire grit. Now, using the same piece of towel you put it on with, work it in. Recommended speed is about 500 to start with. Right, and then I like to speed it up after it's been worked in a while. I suppose one of the most asked questions, and I've said this in other, well actually I've typed this in other videos, is how long do you work Yorkshire grit for? Everybody has their own methods and answer to it. Mine is until I can see a good reflection of the paper towel in the piece. Remember, remember, somebody looking at this is going to look at your finish, and it's worth time spending time doing it. Putting your finish on is the last chance you're going to have to get your hands on this piece, and a bad finish can ruin a good piece. Remember, clean off the excess. You don't want your Yorkshire grit left on when you're putting your final finish on. I have nerve damage in my hands and arms, which is why I actually find this part, to be honest, one of the most difficult, because I find it very hard to hold on to something thin, which when I get to polishing will explain something that I do. Keep going until you get a clean piece of paper towel back. Now I'm seeing the reflection now. So there we go. Now let's have a look at that. Oh, she flashes nice. Right. Now I'll go on to Hampshire Sheen Hide Loss. Right. Now I actually got asked this. I keep a cloth in there because it's easier to find every time, and it actually gets soaked in the polish, or in the wax, should I say. It gives you a more even coverage. Well, that again is just my opinion. You'd want to ask Martin about that, he'd know better than I would. And if you ever do have any questions about it, Martin is quite an approachable fella. He has no problem answering your questions. Just go onto one of his live streams and ask him, and he'll have no problem answering it. Okay. Quick spin to make sure you have an even coverage. And yet again, let it dry. The whole trick with a finish is patience. Right. As I said earlier on, I find it very difficult to hold small things. So I actually use a cotton cloth to buff, because I find it very difficult to hold on to the other. If you are going to use something like this, make sure you hold it in a way that if it does catch, it will slip out of your hands. Never wrap your hands around it. Place it in your hands and just hold it like that. If that catches, it's going to fly out of my hand. Right, and just polish.
The nerve damage was caused by the same condition that makes me forget how to say words. Sometimes. So that's why at the start, when I started the channel, I typed everything. But then I got asked a number of times to speak during the videos, as it helps understand easier. You know, that's when I forgot a word there and I can't remember what it is. Well, I can remember what it is, I just can't remember how to say it. It's easier to follow if somebody's talking. And that's why I started talking during my videos. When you're happy with your shine, yeah, I am quite happy with that. I love the little cracks that show up in this sometimes. The internal cracks from inside the acacia. Right. I use an auger bit to make the hole. And there's a bit of a trick to it when you're using one. Right, for starters, check it's long enough. That is well long enough. Okay, so you need to part this off now. And I like to use a narrow parting tool to do it. Sometimes depending on the lamp, I don't even part it off. I just take it straight off. But this one is well long enough. Did you catch it? And there it is. Okay. Now, there will require some sanding. That nub has to come off. I'll use a flat chisel for that and sand it down. So I'll be back for the next bit. Okay, when you're drilling with an auger bit, they have a tendency to wander inside a lamp. So if you get a standard drill bit of the same size and drill a pilot hole first, it helps with it. It helps it not to do it. And I've already marked the center of this. Keep it straight as you can. Right. Now when you're drilling a lamp, withdraw your drill bit frequently, because if it jams in there, and trust me on this one, it is not fun to have to take a lamp to pieces to get a drill bit back out. I had to do it once and I did not enjoy it. I destroyed a perfect lamp. Now, just to show you this, auger bits come with a screw top. You can see that I took the screw top off mine and turned it into a point. A screw top will pull it into the blank too quickly. Right, now, especially with this, make sure you withdraw frequently. And if I turn the power on. Okay. Now, especially with this, withdraw frequently and put a piece of scrap wood under the lamp so that you don't ruin the top of your drill bit. Where you're aiming for is anywhere within that recess you cut on the bottom. Don't force it, let the drill bit do the work. Once you hear that squealing, take it out immediately because it's starting to bind. The further down you go, the quicker it binds because it can't get the pieces out that it's cutting. And we didn't do too bad. Smack in the middle. Not bad at all. Now we go on to the next bit, which is how do you get the wire in there? With a smaller drill bit, I like to use a 6. A size 6. Pick where you think the front of your lamp should be. Where's the prettiest part? Yeah, I like that because the chatoyance in it as you walk by will change. So what you do is under here at the back at the opposite side, mark a point. Now it's just a simple matter of assembling the lamp kit. There was a question that cropped up this morning. How do you know the lamp kit is safe? You buy a lamp kit that's CE certified and that is meant for use on wooden lamps, which the ones I use are. I use these for a few reasons. That's one of them. They are extremely easy to assemble, and people seem to prefer the inline switch to one that is up under the shade. So that's why I actually use these kits. There we go, there's that part. Use the wire. Run it through the side hole you made. And run it up through the base hole. Put the cap on. Force the screws. Put that part of the kit on. And I can't remember how to say the word for that. Do up your wiring. That part on. Feed the wire back through. Screw that part down. Straighten out your wire. And your lamp is done.
I'll get a better picture of it in a minute for you. Right, and there's the finished piece. Now, as you can see, the lamp is just under 16 inches. There's the halfway point. You can see most of the weight of this lamp is below the halfway point. So I have lowered the center of gravity from here to probably about here somewhere. When I put the shade on top, that'll go up about an inch. So it'll go up to about there. And my center of gravity is still way below the halfway line, which means the lamp will not be tippy. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one. And I'll see you on the next one.